Hello, everybody. Happy Vlogmas, Livemas. Anyway, this workshop is sitting on two playlists. Regardless of how you're catching up on it, glad to have you here. Let's go ahead and talk about, since it's suddenly so popular, let's go ahead and talk about designing your own personal curriculum or personal syllabus. And the further I get away from teaching and doing curriculum and instructional design professionally, the more and more I'm doing it here anyhow. Let's check. Welcome on in, everybody, to plan your professional and self-development for 2026 with us. It's so good to see you. It's good to see you. We has an agenda. Oh, okay, it's actually that way. I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, camera's facing the correct way, and I got it right. Hello, everyone. We actually have an agenda for the workshop. Welcome to the walkthrough and discussion time period. We are going to have a sprint toward the end before we do our wrap-up discussion period, because I want you all to actually go in and play with the template I'm giving you there. If you want to check out the template, don't forget to grab that workbook right here. Ask any questions live, and of course on the replay too, if you're so interested. We had people drop off questions. This is a valid question for those people who belong to my Soulbard membership here on YouTube. I am streamlining my business in 2026. I am looking at maybe migrating everything that was on school to here for a while. So that's part of the vlog for members only about what to expect here in 2026 for members only that's coming out. And we're going to cover all the fun things for everybody over there, including when to do live streams, mostly Tuesdays and Thursdays. There will be some Sundays in there. Also, the fact that we're going to have our mid-month check-in stream starting in January for members only, which will include check-ins not only from whatever planning system you prefer to use, whether that be the 12-week year, whether that be HB90, whether that be something else. It'll also include looking at what we planned today. So thank you for that question, Louise. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing really well. Miranda, hubby decided to finish holiday shopping and was just about excited to go to this live. Thank you for watching the replay, though. It's good to see you. Kat, your head is pounding. Please rest. Please rest. Take care of you. Take care of you. Geeky Witch is here. Other cats, hello, hello. How are you? How are you? So ask any questions you might have. I just prefer you put a question mark or a question at the front so I can kind of eyeball see it. I do have another chat set up off screen where I can kind of monitor a little bit, but we're going to switch ourselves into our curriculum planning document. Let me switch this. That probably looks a lot better. There you go. Let me switch that to the screen here for us. I'm playing screen disco, as a former co-teacher of mine used to call it virtually. So what is curriculum planning? It is, in a professional sense, here's the topic of this class. What are we doing with that topic for X amount of time? So I'm actually going to encourage you to all pick your areas of study. It can change every month, every quarter. It's up to you. My goals this year were to do one fiction book that is or is not a comp read. I can pick either or. And then one nonfiction read that does or does not help my business. So you can see where 2 books a month, I'm looking at 6 books a quarter. So you can do that math however you want in planning these goals as far as scaffolding your reading to give you kind of various avenues on a topic, not just a single take or a single medium even. So with curriculum design and syllabus design, the biggest thing I'm going to include here is kind of like how SMART goals have that measurement and that time aspect. Those matter. What are you measuring, and for how long are you measuring your study of this thing? What's your goal to get out of it? We'll talk all about that here in a little bit too. So if we're going to scroll down, I believe it's page 2 is where a lot of the questions are going to start for us. Elaine's here. Hello. How are you? How are you? If you all need me to reshare the workbook link, let me know. And if you need it on the replay, it should be in the description box, or there should be a pinned comment there too after this processes for everybody. So let me know if you can or cannot read. I'm at max where it'll let me zoom in. So if need be, I can make the font bigger, is what I'm saying. So page 2 is going to be right where all the journaling questions start you. And they look very similar, except for a couple of key words. Curriculum planning revolves first and foremost around data-backed, saying these are the strengths. We want to continue heading towards an education, we would say mastery. I would say comfort, ease, routine use without thinking twice about it is a fair trade-off definition for mastery in everyday life, okay? Henceforth, I'll probably call it mastery out of habit. Heads up. So you want to keep improving those, and often you want to look at your strengths in a way eventually, as another question lower will ask, what are your weaknesses? How can they even begin to support your weaknesses? For me, I would probably admit I'm pretty good at certain stages of the writing process. Most of us would say publishing and marketing is where I need the most help. Or in my case, I'm writing a whole new trilogy alongside an overlapping parallel pentology. I actually might be hiring, for the first time in several years, I might be hiring a developmental editor. My critique partner has been a huge help. I need somebody who can read both series side by side for me, and I might have to pay someone for that. So you can see we're addressing your weakness. You can admit my strengths are only going to take me so far to support them too. Now, some of you are like, burnout is a potential issue, and thank you for confirming on the sizing there, Geeky Witch. Burnout is a potential issue, or just boredom, whichever one you prefer. And this is why I, as a teacher, therefore consider what are the high interests. I was one of those teachers who would give a survey multiple times a year of, okay, what's your favorite thing to watch, read, listen to right now? It kind of gave me a pulse on topics of commonality that those kids might enjoy. For example, this is how in a virtual school I found out a lot of my kids actually were not gamers at one of the schools I worked at. Boy, did that make getting some of them a common topic of interest as teenagers really interesting. I had several who, mind you, this was when I taught for a school that was mainly based in Michigan. I had a lot of kids who were really interested in doing stuff crafty-wise with their hands. And if you know anything historically about Michigan, well, that's where Auto Parts and Development USA was. So I say that's kind of in their blood. They had family that was used to working with their hands for a living. Makes sense to me. They have all these crafty interests. So we got into some really interesting, like neuroscience on the importance of crafting and creativity stuff, which I probably never would have thought to do had I not checked for the high interests of the situation of the group at hand. Now, if you have a lot of high interests, of course, it's going to make picking books, podcasts, paid for and free classes that you could find, events you might attend, symposiums, discussions. Maybe there's a book festival in your area and someone's giving a topic on a panel or something. You get what I mean? These high area of interests to you could be easy to find, but if you're kind of grasping for straws and you have a critique partner, you have a beta reader, someone you could drive to go visit, ask them, can we find something professional developee to do in between us? I have a friend that lives in Oklahoma and a friend that lives in Colorado and a lot of friends that live in North Carolina, where I'm going, I've got to make some road trips in the next couple of years. I'm not going to have much more of an excuse not to. And I think everyone in North Carolina was just like, Jenna, you're closest to us. Yes, I know. And I know how to drive there because my brother lived there and I've driven down there a couple times, to be fair. So I could very well see where, say, for example, if there was something down at one of the university campuses in North Carolina, since they're known for having decent universities, some of the best, it kind of, I could see where I could go down with them for that event. Could apply as some of my other questions in the future of this handout. Let's see. Decided to step away from book reviews this year. You're rushing to do them at the last minute, see, I don't blame you for making this decision. Now, what other medium would work for you? Because for me, with my curriculum development, I'm not just doing books. Now, mind you, I live literally in a hub city where the arts are flourishing in 1 hour radius of me at different little tiny campus here, bookshop there events. What could I go to that is maybe an afternoon of something? If you're not looking at doing books, what other outlets could you use? Kat, we are a very crafty group sometimes, and it's brought this. I remember having, when I first started my channel, I remember having talks with you about this, either on my channel or your channel, about specifically this, because some of the things my students were into at their age, I was surprised. And I'm not talking like, yes, I had boys who did crochet and knitting, but I also had siblings, regardless of gender, who were sitting down and doing cross-stitch, quilting. They were literally doing everything from like spindling their own yarn together because they had animals that gave them fur. And I'm like, guys, y'all crafty for your age. I'm impressed. So you can see where if you have classes, because it doesn't have to even be writerly related. For me, one of my areas of high interest next year to study is getting my voice back intact again. I used to sing way better than I do. And getting my breath for my singing back under control, guess what? That's going to make doing this easier. Which also is going to help me get my lung power back to where it was when I was singing what I was singing, even though I had asthma when I was younger. So you can see where something tiny like that could hit multiple goals of areas of my life I want to improve. Maybe this is, a lot of people probably could be going this route just because with your local library card, you could get access to tons of books. If you like Hoopla, Overdrive, Canopy, Blackstone Unlimited, whatever apps you like, check and see if your local library lets you get access to them with your library card for free. Please go through your library to use those right now. Save you a streaming cost or 5, as one of my former students said. They didn't know that that was a thing. And they closed down most of the things they were paying for, and now they go through their library. Let the library get the funding for that and save you some money next year. Because a lot of audiobooks, ebooks, paperbacks, video series, like I have access to Great Courses Plus through my library. I have access to master class stuff through my library with my library card. That's just me listening to stuff that isn't necessarily a book. So if that's more up your alley, get a library card this year. Put that at the top of your list. If you haven't used it in forever, check if it's re-uppable. Or if you moved like I did, go fix it to where you can use it. Because not only would this help with your areas of high interest, it would also help find you mediums of improving your strengths and, of course, mediums of improving your interest. Now, I do go down into getting you, once you kind of figure out what your strengths, your weaknesses, your high interests, and what areas of weakness can be supported by a strength and or a high interest. I then encourage you to look at 3 to 5 areas for focus for learning next year. If you do HB90, what are your goals next year? For me, my reading goals, my personal development goals are overlaying right with my writing goals and my business goals and my whatnot goals. They're in that pile over there and they're not on top. Dang it. So for me, it was publishing goals, both publishing new stuff and marketing my backlist are on that list. That's 2 areas of study right there that I could pick up on if I wanted. My editing and my coaching. I could do just books on editing. I know some of you are working through some of those this year, looking at you, Miranda, if you're on the replay there. For me, I'm kind of asking you to even consider that one area could be craft and or professional. They might overlap, they might not. You could have a second area that is business and or professional. They could overlap, they might not. Please do something for your health. Please do something for your hobby. And then an additional area. Now, maybe you just want to have ideas of content to consume when you're bored. Or ideas of content to consume when you're in a spiral. You could see where these areas could help be an exit out of those bad days to at least get you back to a stable center too. Hence why I put hobby and health on there, because those could be beneficial definitely for the bad days, or low energy days are another word phrasing that I've heard them used in the past around these parts before. Once you kind of know, as I said, pick 3 to 5 areas. Don't overdo it. Once you have your areas, then you're going to start breaking down what time you have available to learn these, what kind of things you're going to consume it through. Are you taking a class? If so, when is the class? As far as the start date, when do you have to pay it by? Is it free or is it paid? If it's free, do you have to travel? Is it in person? You can start figuring out these logistics because some of you have already started planning some of these items. I kind of wanted to give you a common space to copy paste or type in those notes as you needed to have them. Also, let's see. You're working on building your business to hopefully actually generate a little money to gain some financial independence, learning marketing and developing routines. There's a ton of podcasts and books specifically for neurodivergent women that are out there that are largely low cost or free to get access to. I would venture to say also, if you're looking for marketing classes, here's a really affordable suggestion. Check and see if your local community college or four-year school has a continuing education branch. Most of the time, the continuing education courses are like 100 or 200 level review of concepts of the basics courses. And they're like $100 a class and they run a couple weeks sometimes, depending on your school. I know Hagerstown Community College, for example, has an entire 6-month program on event planning that you could do that's like $2,000, or you could take this one class for $100 that gets you the book and intros you to basically teaching yourself through the book without taking their online modules. So look for those opportunities around you to kind of be outlets to consider, not just what's this really expensive class by somebody online. I definitely would. Where's my document? Where is it? There you go. I would also check around at the different coaches, editors, and business providers over on All Call Indie and lurk on their newsletters and see if any of them are offering free workshops. Because a lot of us are going to start announcing our next stuff here for freebies or low-cost access. And this is why I say, yeah, if free is your option, double check and see whose newsletters you are and are not subscribed to. I cleaned out a lot of people I was just no longer interacting with, aka I learned all I was going to learn. Next teacher or coach, please. Applied in that way. Geeky Witch, definitely check your local library and community centers. You never know. Your local chamber of commerce, give them a call. Since you're in Michigan, Kat, I can attest. Former students were able to find general basic how to market in our area kind of advice. And sometimes your algorithms are regional, state, local to your country based. So if I would check and see what your Chamber of Commerce has. This is another good idea. Check and see if your local community, and you're in Michigan, I would not be shocked if one of these exists. Check and see if your local community college has a local business owner incubator. Here, I'll share a link. Hagerstown Community College Fletcher Business. Yes. We have here at the Hagerstown Community College locally, for example, the David W. Fletcher Incubator Labs. Let me share here instead. There you go. And this is for local area to kind of help rebuild the local businesses that were lost because of something that happened almost 6 years ago. How was that 6 years ago? I don't know. But I would see if there's money for this in your area for something similar. Because, yeah, definitely check. There's usually scholarships for stuff like this, too. Like, if it's a $400 class and you can get a $500 scholarship, check it out. I've helped former students of mine who live in your state get through it. Those continuing are great, even if you took them in college. See, exactly. This is how I ran into them as a teacher because, whoops, I took away the wrong tab there. This is how I ran into it as a teacher because sometimes I needed a review of the basics. I'm going to be honest. Or legislation changed it, is often also the other item of concern there too. So I do encourage you, what are your gaps of time during the year that you can simulate a learning phase in your life? Are you doing a 6-week semester, a 9-week one, a 16-week one? You're in control of picking that length. For me, I'm going to pick, this is literally my answer. I'm taking an hour before bed every night, journal, and then read. Every night. I want to get back into that habit. That was my habit when I was in college. And it helped me when I was having my really bad insomnia, because at least I could lay there and read myself to sleep applied. So I definitely would consider, am I doing this every day? Or if it's like a class, even if it's just a weekend class, definitely worth considering in that regard too, of what the time frames are. Some paid coursework items do also have recorded replays that make them evergreen, or as the old phrasing used to be, self-paced. So then you go down into breaking down which of your areas you want to work on as far as what book, podcast, class, whatever you're using to buffer that skill and make it stronger. You start organizing them here a little further with some refinement before you literally just keep considering your 5 areas, if any, that are bought. Okay, so notice the wording here is ones you're going to buy. I'm largely going to skip this page too, minus one thing. I really need to get back to going to the gym, and I may or may not be getting another gym membership if I can afford it, put it that way. But if you don't want to do the bought ones, you just want to do your ones you currently own that are in your repertoire, such as HB90, such as Publish and Thrive, or maybe something you bought a year ago that you have lifetime access to. And then you go down here and you even consider this one should be free. One of them should be asking you to look at the free areas that you want to kind of do. So you're considering all the different areas to put in. What do I got to buy? What do I have access to? What is free out there that I don't yet have access to? Could apply in your questions. That's okay, Louise. Have a good day. Take care of you. Thank you for being here. And of course, which ones are you paying for? There's a how are you affording these? Hint, hint, scholarships. And then you get into building your individual syllabi down the line. This is going to be like page 9 plus. Okay. There are a couple of pages where they look very similar on the wording. Pay close attention to whether or not it's asking you about something you own, something that's free, or something that you need to purchase and how you're going to purchase it. So syllabus title, this could literally be your area of study. What is your area of study? You can put if it's a specific pen name you're doing it for, if it's for you, if it's for your business name, if you're doing it with a certain business name, can mean whatever you want it to mean here. Start date, this and end date. This is if you need specific time frames for how length is my study go. How lengthy is this period of study going? Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze there for a minute, everybody. And then what are your objectives? Why do you want to study this thing? What should I get out of this? 2 or 3 reasons, okay? For me, if I were to do, say this is my health topic, okay? I'm going to probably make this start date the first day of the year and the end of the year because I'm going to try and just get better about being mindful about it. So my objectives are maybe I want to learn how to eat better, which includes relearning some keto recipes, which means testing new recipes. Oh, wait, that means I got to go and get cookbooks. Oh, yay. Or look up recipes online or look at YouTube videos, okay? But this is also I need to work out more often and I need to track my health better. So you can see where those 3 things could be my objectives. My standards to guide my achievement, going to look very similar to my objectives. Almost word for word, they support each other, okay? Here's the goal, here's how I'm going to do it, is how I like to word it for objectives and standards when teaching it to fellow teachers who are new to the field. So your objective is the end goal, and normally you can just start your standard with, I'm going to do blank by, insert the blank to be filled, and then you have your standard. Okay, and I'll probably show you how to do a couple of these as part of the walkthrough when we get to do a sprint here in a few moments, because you're going to actually see me do one of these on screen in real time. I think that's only fair. Measurable goals. These are going to be your, how long do I have to achieve this thing? Some classes might have assessments and outcomes for you. If it's not a class, what are your assessments? Are you journaling? If so, what does your journal look like? Do you have a study buddy? Is this something you and your critique partners are partner or buddy reading, or partner or buddy learning together? Are you going to have a talk about it at the end? That could be your assessment. What are your benchmarks, your check-ins? A lot of what I just said can count for both, and that's fine. More often than not, your benchmarks are a series of discussions that lead up to an end discussion, whether it be written or verbal or slideshow or whatever, in an educational sense. What are you doing to, I hear a phrase I really don't want to say. A mentor of mine, Matt Schaefer, is saying in my head, education without basically absorbing it and processing it with reflection is just a form of rhymes with education. Just saying. Anyway, thanks, Matt. Now I can't get that out of my head, and I wish I'd never heard it. So benchmarks of your goals and your assessments are therefore crucial for you to check in with yourself to see, am I actually making any of the spaghetti stick to the wall? And what scaffold supports or systems do you have to follow through on this? It could literally be that maybe in this class, they pair you with a study partner. Maybe they don't require you to meet and actually do peer work, but maybe you decide to swap social media stuff, Discord stuff, phone numbers, whatever, to have someone to just get through the course with. That's a scaffold supporter system. Maybe the way you lay out your journal is the scaffold support or system. Okay. So yes, completing whatever benchmark checkpoints there are by following the path of the scaffolding, the system, or the support is how you achieve the assessment. Yes, that sounded confusing. Replay it if you need to hear it again. Essentially, B plus C equals A, if that also helps. If you were to label A, B, and C on the screen here accordingly. B plus C equals A can also help on that. So what I did promise was, let me switch some things around on my screen here. I did dare promise my friends that I would like to go ahead and do a little bit of sprint time with all of you. Share. Ooh, do I have the correct one? No, I did that earlier. This is a sign I need more coffee. Okay. There you go. So join me for a little bit of a sprint. If you have any questions, go ahead and add them, and we'll catch them up with the wrap-up discussion at the end. And see you here in about 30 minutes. welcome on back. Ooh, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm gonna go ahead and switch a Rooney just right quick. No, not that one. Not that one. This one, maybe. There we go. Whew. The coffee is kicking in, though. It is kicking in. How are you doing, y'all? How are you doing? I know we had some people step out during that time. And I know we had some people join us. I did get about halfway through. I got basically all my brainstorming type questions and my blog questions, as I like to call them, at the beginning. I'm right at the top of the first syllabus. So I think we could do one more sprint, depending on how all of you are interested for that. You let me know, or we can wrap up. Let's see what questions you have, if any. There's never enough coffee. Nope. Cat's got Persephone on the lap. You have feline paralysis, as Mama Maggie Ward would say. All hail the feline overlord and overladies. Cat, she gets into moods where she wants to be held, but she's only 3 months old, so she can be a worm. Or she has liquid kitty syndrome. That's what they called it a couple years ago. Geeky Witch, currently have 2 cats doing their own version of Statler and Waldorf. Oh my god. How are you surviving a Callie and a Torty in the same house? Because basically, this is my joke about Callies and Torties. Because, of course, there's Calico Sass and Tortitude is what we always called them growing up around my family. I basically picture this, but to Golden Girls levels, if that makes sense. It's not pretty. Make sure to share a photo, please, because that'll be adorbs. And, of course, we got talking about floss tube and filming. Cranky wrists who just want wrist supports when they stitch. True. My issue is I do a lot of... There's a reason why I've already achieved over 1 million keystrokes on my keyboard, and I've only had it for 2 years. There's a reason why between my books and my clients and the streaming and the gaming. Yep. My wrists show the mileage, too. There are so many tools and techniques. I'm sure you can find someone with wrist issues that can make recommendations. Okay, this I appreciate tenfold. You're thinking about trying cross-stitch sprints. You have my attention, darling. You have my attention. I cannot wait to watch, for sure. What things are you putting on your syllabus or curriculum development? Most of was a combo of everything on the list, or you added commentary above. Hey, replay, add in your answers too, please. How are you? If you do not follow Diana Dobson art, you should. I love watching the master. I want one of your paintings in my office. I keep telling you this. I want one of your paintings in my office. Hafren, hello. How are you? Yes, coffee. I gave you a reminder. By the way, y'all, my mug shop got an update. So, it went way more book merch centric. There's some writer-reader friendly stuff coming out here soon. That goes with my book box drops. So do check out. All the coffee, you're allowed. I can do more sprints too. Doing okay. Need to work on your brainstorming what you own. Okay, there you go. The calico is the... This makes sense because genetically, basically, the tortie is a shadow calico, basically. Total sassitude all the time. Yeah. There's a calico I used to have in my life. Her name was Cleo. What's that make you think about her attitude problems? She's named after that Cleopatra. We'll do one more sprint, by the way. Her mom, Cleo was diabetic, and her mom had an alarm on her phone that was, I'll link the song in chat. I'll put it that way. And you'll be like, yep, tortitude. We're going to do one more sprint. I am on page 19 doing my writing publishing for me. If you have any questions while you're moseying along, do dare ask. And let's do another 30 minutes, y'all. See you then. Alrighty, y'all. Let's go ahead and wrap up and wind down. Thank you so much for spending. I was hoping to get a full hour. We're well beyond that. So thank you all for hanging out for as long as we did. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for being you. If you've missed any of the items to Vlogmas, please check here. Or if you want to check out several other author tubers took up the call to something I kind of did as part of a vlog. So if you want to check out those and subscribe to the channels listed if you're not. Thank you all so much for being here. I am open for coaching and editing in the next year. Halfren, it's good to see you. Geeky Witch, thank you so much for hanging with. There's pop-ups and changes to schedules going on in the next weeks or so's. Not just for me, but for all my fellow authors through authortube, booktube, and of course Heart Breathings. So make sure you're paying attention to everything in the box. Take care of you. Above all, you're worth it, and so is your voice.